Benjamin Franklin proved that lightning is electricity by flying a kite during a thunderstorm in 1752. In 1754, the French and Indian War began as the British declared war on France. The French surrendered to the British in Quebec, Canada. In 1763, the French and Indian War ended with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. In 1765, the Stamp Act was passed by the British Parliament. It taxed all newspapers, legal documents, pamphlets, and etc. In 1765, James Watt created the steam engine. It had a major impact on the Industrial Revolution. In 1773, 342 cases of tea were thrown into the Boston Harbor to protest the Tea Act. This was known as the Boston Tea Party. In 1775, the American Revolution began on April 19th. It began when colonial militiamen and British soldiers at Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts, fired shots at each other. 273 British soldiers and 93 Americans were killed. This is when the famous saying, "The British are coming," was created. In 1776, the Continental Congress approved the Declaration of Independence, and it was signed by Thomas Jefferson on July 4th. In 1780, over 5,000 American soldiers surrendered at Charleston, South Carolina. It was known as the worst American defeat of the Revolutionary War.
In 1781, the American Revolution ended at Yorktown. In 1784, the Indian Act solidifies British rule. In 1787, Louis XVI dismissed his Assembly of Notables. And also in 1787, the Constitution of America was created. In 1789, George Washington became the first U.S. president, and the French Revolution had begun. In 1791, the U.S. Assembly creates a new constitution, and the Bill of Rights was created. In 1792, Austria and Prussia invaded France. In 1799, Napoleon took power in Paris. In 1800, Washington, D.C. became the capital, and Thomas Jefferson became the president. In 1801, France invaded Austria, and Alexander I became Tsar of Russia. In 1802, the Treaty of Amiens created temporary peace in Europe. In 1804, Napoleon was crowned the emperor, and Haiti gained independence. In 1806, Napoleon dissolved the Holy Roman Empire. In 1807, England banned the importation of slaves. In 1808, the United States banned the importation of slaves.
Napoleon was exiled to the island of Elba, and the Treaty of Paris was made. In 1812, the war between the U.S. and England officially began. In Latin America, Simón Bolívar established a National Congress, which declared independence from Spain. Bolívar was an effective military leader and won freedom for Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela. Hidalgo Morelos led rebellion in Mexico in 1810. In 1821, Mexico, Peru, and Central American states gained independence.
In 1842, the Oregon Trail, a 2,000-mile road connecting the Oregon valleys and the Missouri River, opens for Western settlement. In 1844, Samuel F. B. Morse sends the first telegraph message from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, Maryland. In 1846, the sewing machine was invented, impacting the textile industry and women working in the textile mills. From 1846 to 1848, Mexico and the U.S. fight over Texas and New Mexico territories, and U.S. wins. In 1847, thousands of Irish immigrants fleeing the potato famine in Ireland come to the United States. In 1848, France has a revolution. The discovery of gold in the U.S. causes Western expansion. The Women's Rights Convention was held at Seneca Falls, New York, and in 1850, the Second Industrial Revolution that has electricity and chemicals has begun. In 1854, Commodore Matthew Perry forces Japan to open its gates to foreigners, and in 1857, British represses the Indian Rebellion and puts them under Crown rule. In 1860, the French and Austrian War begins, and in 1861 to 1866, William I reigns as King of Russia. In 1868, revolution against Queen Isabella II in Spain happens.
In 1868, the Meiji Restoration happened in Japan, which ended the Tokugawa era. The Meiji Restoration was when Japan began to receive Western influence to which they assimilated. In 1870 to 1871, the unification of Italy and Germany happened in Europe. After years of war, Italy was united by Count Cavour and Giuseppe Garibaldi. For Germany, France declared war on Prussia, then France surrendered. King William I of Prussia has proclaimed the Emperor of Germany, and Germany is united. In 1875 to 1900, the colonial conquest of Africa happened, also known as the Scramble for Africa. Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Portugal, Spain, and Italy were all a part of the Scramble for Africa. The Scramble for Africa involved military conquest because the Africans resisted to be conquered. European countries wanted colonial possession over Africa, and they got it. In 1876, the Ottoman Constitution was established. The young Ottomans had the Ottoman Constitution promulgated by Sultan Abdul Hamid II. In 1886 to 1888, Cuba and Brazil abolished slavery. Spanish Cortez approved the abolition law of 1880, which provided an 8-year period of patronado for all slaves liberated according to the law, making Cuba and Brazil the last two countries to abolish slavery. In 1898 through 1902, the Spanish-American War happened, in which U.S. acquires the Philippines. On April 21, 1898, the U.S. declared war on Spain. The Spanish fleet guarding the Philippines was defeated by the U.S. Navy, and the U.S. won.